Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to another FxEdge Power Hour. Okay, I'm Marcello Ducille. Today's April 15th, 2013. I'm going to do today what I've done for years, which is an analysis of the markets and evaluation of our strategies, which are based upon the 5 p.m. Eastern Time close of our daily bars and our 4-hour bars. Thereafter, we will have a brief questions and answers session, so go ahead and prepare your questions for me because we are going to move pretty quickly through here. So I'm going to find my way to the STP first and foremost. We're going to move on from there. So here we have our euro dollar, guys, and if I could expand this, I've got a lot of lines on here and they serve a purpose. We drew this line of support and resistance right here at 131.27, which was the high of the previous days. So we kind of fell back into range. So we got a nice breakout of our previous range, and we find ourselves in another range. Looks like my data window. There it goes. 31.21 and 30.50. 30. So they're all in the same range, 30.36 and 31.25. So roughly 30.50 and about 31.20. Those have been our highs and our lows for the last few days. So 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Here we actually on the coming out of the weekend here, coming off of the Friday close, Sunday open, we had an open at 31.13, and that was basically the high of the day, and we just fell. You will see the same thing on the euro yen as well. So this is actually very, very difficult trading from a swing trading standpoint, unless of course you're playing that range, one back and forth. So you'll be playing the 30.50 at 30.00 at 30.50 to about the 31.00, 31.20 area for the time being. So we're here at the bottom. What you'll notice here at the bottom is that we also have a area of support and resistance, which is our 200 and our 50 EMAs, which are right above us, or right below us, I should say, serving as support for the time being. If we are to stay in line with the consolidation that we've had, and also the up bias that we've had previous to that, then we have a high probability that price will actually move up. So we may get a test downward to the 30.00 area, nice bounce off of that, and take us back up to that 31.27 area as a potential target. Okay, and that's what's going on in the euro dollar. There's really nothing else to say about that because there's nothing going on there. We don't have a trade as far as the STP is concerned. Dollar Swiss, same thing. You can see that it's bouncing off of this area of support and resistance. Remember this trend line that we drew a few days ago. Actually, not a few days ago. What am I talking about? Weeks ago. We drew on this trend line, I believe. This was a previous high that formed our resistance point for this apex that we have that broke out here. Okay, and we got this double top formation and a fall. But you can see how that trend line, the market is still respecting it. It was our trend line from before, and you'd think that we'd forget about it because we already had the breakout, but it's not true. That's why we leave those trend lines on. We leave those areas of support and resistance on. You can see here that this trend line was really sitting at 92.70, 92.80. And you can see that all the days really touched that area at 92.93, 92.77, 92.81, and yesterday was 92.66. So in that range there, that 92.70, 92.80 range, we've had 4 candles which have confirmed this area as an area of support. Okay, so we're kind of right next to the 200 EMA, above the dollar Swiss here. We could get a bounce off of that and head potentially back down to this trend line again at about 92, 92.70-ish, 92.80. And we don't have a trade. We actually had a change from red to green here, but there's just too much sell pressure, so we don't take a buy there, and I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment by the software and a good decision. Okay, so here we also, guys, this is interesting, we had another area of support and resistance. You can see how the market does not forget. Okay, we drew an apex from this one all the way down, and you can see how that line continued. That was way back November. That trend line has served as an area of, it actually coincided with the 5430 area, 5400, 5420, 5430. And you can see here that, let's see, what was price actually? 5421 is where we were. And we have a high of 5410 and 5408, and then price dropped below the 50 MA here. So we've been in a consolidation. We never quite made it out of the consolidation, and we finally had a kind of a break, if you will, out of this consolidation to the downside. We have a change from green to red. Just slightly too much buy pressure for us to get into a sell, unfortunately. We could have gotten into a sell here, and I think that would be, actually, you know, this pound dollar's been a little odd, so it's very tough to say. So we did not get a sell here, and it's for the best because it's an ambiguous kind of movement. Nothing's very clear on that pound yen at this point. And look at this pound yen. Okay, that was a pound dollar. Look at this pound yen. We have a change from green to red. Just too much buy pressure, so we didn't get into a sell. But look at how this thing is falling right down to 14800 area, closed at the 14800 area, and you know, we're basically waiting for the next opportunity in the pound yen. But it basically went all the way up to about 15400 and just turned around and fell. And that's the same thing that we can say about the euro yen here, which also fell. Now, I was under the impression we had a 4-bar trailing stop on this euro yen. Apparently not. If we had, we would have closed this trade out at 128.41. You can see here that we're down to 125.85. It hasn't moved. We must have a 12-bar trailing stop. I'll have to check on that for myself. But we are stopped at an area of support, which is at 125.85, 120.60, 12600 basically. And we'll wait and see if we have, you know, potentially a railroad tracks formation, which would bode well for a continuation to the upside and a buy trade. So that's where we're at on that. Let's take a look at our Aussie dollar, because the Aussie's been interesting for me to look at, honestly. And you can see here, guys, this is a perfect setup. Look at this. It doesn't get better than this. Remember what we talked about? Price moves up, hits this trend line here at the top. This has been an area of significant area of support and resistance. Forms the doji, forms the evening star pattern that we talked about, and it just falls off the planet. Wow, that is actually an amazing trade that we actually called. We called that trade perfectly, and it went down to our next area of support and resistance, which is that 1.0288 area, that 1.0300 area. And I don't know why it likes 1.0288, but that has literally been holding that area, has come very, very close to that area every single time. You can see here that the low is 1.0289, and we've held this area for a long, long time just because it has worked 1.0288. But look at that. That is just gorgeous. Big time drop here. Something that you don't see on the Aussie dollar. It does not generally have that kind of range. And if you look on this one candle by itself, it is just, it retests the high almost 1.0520, and then it just falls off the planet. 200 pips. Big day for the Aussie dollar. Anyway, looking at the, so we're currently up 133 pips from the euro yen. We're going to be waiting for another opportunity. Looking at this euro dollar 4-hour. All right, so we had the IBO Rev. This was our trade. We had a 12-bar trailing stop, which we finally did hit right here. Okay. And then we had another 3-bar. 1, 2. This one would have profited, and so did this one. This was also I'm telling you, that IBO Rev has been performing so well, and it's probably because so few people have it, or are still it's still being implemented. Yeah, the Guardian's back up, guys. Yeah, I think it's a 9 bar. Thank you, Celia. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Guardian was down. What's the difference between IBO and IBO Rev? An IBO basically is this formation here. Where you see the diamonds, it's a breakout after we have a consolidation inside of a channel. Okay, so that gives us an IBO. Okay, so basically when we have a breakout, that gives us a trade. Now, what that IBO also does, it shows us where the market is most likely to do something intentionally. So when it breaks out there, if it's not an intentional breakout, it will most likely form a reversal signal. That reversal signal will, if you know exactly how to configure it the way that we have with this iRev, essentially it will give you so the IBO is a breakout. The IBO Rev is actually the reversal from the previous breakout. Okay, and so that's how that works. Let's take a look at our FxEdge Quattro. I'm running through this quickly. And so our FxEdge Quattro is really good for us because it really does give us a very good understanding of what the market is doing. You can see here that we have this area of support and resistance, this resistance point above, and it really comes from a trend line, from a pennant, a flag that we had way back then. You can see how many times that pennant, that upper trend line, has been used by the market as an area of support and now resistance. Okay, and you can see here that price moves up to it and it actually falls off of that area as well. I would not be surprised if we saw, price begin to use these two areas as potentially another bounce point in the flag. But we'll wait and see what happens here. We're definitely in a consolidation. Speaking about the IBO Rev itself, I'm sorry, about the FxEdge Quattro itself, we have, let's see here, we had a change from green to red just now, and basically that got us into a sell trade. About 31 pips of risk with the spread. And you can see as soon as we jump into this trade, price goes against us very, very hard. Actually closes this trade out for a loss, unfortunately, and then price goes down. So, we've had some really good trades on the IBO. On the FxEdge Quattro, and now, we just put a hit on that last one, and that's going to happen when we have this back and forth movement, this ranging market. You really don't want to get in on that. Yeah, IBO 3 performs basically the same as the IBO original. The only difference is, which is a major difference, is that it has loss mitigation software built into it, so it actually makes more and loses less. Okay. And that's why we got a good deal with the IBO 3. Okay, so having said that, let's take a look at so basically on our ATR Sniper, we were flat. We haven't had a trade on the ATR Sniper in a while. We basically had a nice run all the way up. We made some money here. We made a few percent on this trade, and now we're waiting for the next one. We haven't had a trade since that last trade that we were up about 200 plus pips on that last trade. Let's take a look at our. All right, we're taking a look at our FxEdge Quattro. Triple Threat 3X. You can see here that we had a triple threat sell. We hit our first take profit already. We're kind of moved to break even. We know price may retrace, but I think eventually price will continue to move down on this one. So it would be a very good trade. Potentially, if we can keep our stop to break even open. Okay, I think there's room for the downside for this particular time. But we are in a consolidation, guys, and so as consolidation, basically when you get to extremes, you want to take it in the opposite direction, even though you're thinking to yourself, oh great, sell, sell, sell. It's most likely going to go back up. And that's what a consolidation does. It hits the extremes and it comes back within the range. And so that's the likelihood of this particular trade as well. So I'd like to say it's going down, but we haven't gotten out truly outside of this range in this candle, so this candle can come back up and keep us in the range. if it really wants to. It looks like the euro yen is picking up big time here, dropping big time, because I checked it just a little bit ago and it was up 150 pips, and now it's up only 784. Yeah, it dropped 60 pips already, but it actually kind of hit this very strong trend line, this area of support here. It dropped 120 pips since the open, guys, and that's 20 minutes ago. So we could actually, you know, if this area of this trend line holds right where we were, we could see price continue to move up. We'll wait and see what happens there. Or it's going to have to just break through and test this 50 EMA. All right, guys, with that concludes our session for today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Talk to you soon, and happy trading.